When I returned to the hobby in 2014, Hattons quickly became my go-to retailer for both new and pre-owned models, and have been so ever since. In this video, I want to share a brief view of my personal journey with Hattons over that time, including the services they added to help make them my retailer of choice to this day. I also want to bring to your attention some of the excellent online resources that Hattons have developed over the years, and why you should look to check these out before they disappear. Finally, I want to consider the factors that may have ultimately led to Hattons' demise before we ultimately say our goodbyes. After 30 years out of the hobby, I had a lot of catching up to do when I returned. DCC was totally new to me, and I was just getting to grip with what geographies and eras I wanted to model, not to mention how deep I wanted to go with my modelling investment. While I found eBay to be an excellent source of pre-owned models, it can be hit and miss, and for this reason I found Hattons' pre-owned service to be a godsend in those early days of getting back into the hobby, and not wanting to invest too heavily until I was sure what I was going to do. Items were well photographed and described, would be well packaged when posted, and returns were very straightforward on the occasions I needed to do so. Over time, I shifted most of my pre-owned purchases over to Hattons, and mainly used eBay to sell on items that were surplus to my requirements going forward. As an overseas buyer, the advent of Brexit had a profound impact on my model purchasing. eBay effectively became a non-option due to the overlay of VAT, and even many online retailers would no longer ship overseas due to the new challenges involved. Thankfully, Hattons engaged with this and started applying VAT at source to save the delays and hassle of paying in country. While it didn't always work out, Hattons were always quick to address any refunds where double charging of VAT was taking place, and while not as seamless as things used to be, Hattons did their very best to make it as smooth as possible. The introduction of the trunk model for your purchases was definitely one of the standout services that Hattons introduced. Being overseas, the ability to aggregate smaller purchases together in one shipment has been huge in terms of cost savings and convenience, not to mention the environment. Hats off to Hattons for providing this truly excellent service that I will definitely miss going forward. No discussion on Hattons would be complete without covering the additional support they've provided over the years in terms of online resources. This includes their product database, which is very handy for getting some basic information on older models, with an ability to filter down to a specific manufacturer, subclass and era. They've essentially archived all of their listings, and you can either drill down on the Hattons webpage or search a particular part code online, and usually a reference to a previous Hattons listing will pop up. There are other railway model databases out there, but they won't usually give photographs of the models themselves to the level that Hattons provide. Another online resource is their formation guides. You'll need to do a search for these, or I've put a link in the description that you can go to directly. These cover the main eras and main classes, and while not fully complete, I still use them as a go-to reference for particular train configurations, and they also provide direct links to the specific models that you can use to make up a given formation. I would advise downloading either the JPEG or PDF versions for all of the eras that you're interested in before the Hattons website disappears. Another major resource from Hattons over the years has been their YouTube channel, and while they appear to have moved away from it in recent years, the channel is still live and contains a vast range of product-based videos, as well as tutorials on aspects of the hobby and background videos on particular locomotive classes and types of rolling stock. I used to always check out the Hattons videos after a major launch from Hornby or Bachmann to get their take on it, but sadly we haven't seen this in the last few years. Still, there's a massive back catalogue of videos on YouTube, and again, I'll put a direct link to their channel in the video description. Hattons evolved their business model over the years and ultimately decided to venture into product development. While this can make sense for certain types of relatively generic product, I fear Hattons engaged in a major overreach with their Class 66 introduction in 2019. A number of major issues arose from this introduction, one of them being some fundamental quality problems with the models themselves that resulted in a raft of customer complaints and returns. My own personal experience with one of these models I can only describe as farcical, as I had covered in a video at the time. Without modification, the model simply wouldn't stay on the track. Now, many enthusiasts have undertaken their own modifications to get their Hattons Class 66s to where they should have been out of the box, and they love these models to death. But seriously, these models were sold as ready-to-run models and should have been so. As well as the cost factor in terms of returns and repairs, Hattons undoubtedly suffered reputational damage from customers, and as if that wasn't enough, it also impacted their relationships with manufacturers like Hornby and Bachmann. There can be no doubt that this impacted Hattons' retail business over the years that followed in terms of the sales of the products from these manufacturers, and it also impacted their customers who were supporters of these brands, myself included. We were forced to go elsewhere for these models, and very often customers who have to go elsewhere are likely never to come back. In terms of Hattons' current commercial situation, they cite the changing market conditions, declining customer numbers, changing customer demographics, and supply chain disruption in their press release, as well as increased costs of compliance, the impact of Brexit, GST, and other operational costs of running an international business. With roughly 20% of their business being overseas, the split with the customs union must definitely have made things more challenging and probably put a halt to them growing their international business. Still, I don't believe this was the most significant issue at the end of the day. I would contend that the fallout with Hornby and Bachmann had a profound impact on Hattons, directly impacting their sales and also impacting their customers, who were forced to go to other retailers to purchase products from the big two that Hattons could no longer provide. While we're more or less over that resulting relationship fallout, lost customers during that time can be very hard to win back. And when you combine this with the broader economic reality, Hattons owners have ultimately determined that it would be a mistake to continue. The fact that they've called it now and can undertake a controlled wind-down that minimises the impact to customers is to be applauded. Historically, other retailers have attempted to hang in for too long and everyone ends up the loser. Hattons have even committed to complete the rollout of their Genesis coaches, and I'm particularly pleased with this given my pre-orders for these. Hattons Closure is a profound change to the railway modelling world in these islands, and certainly to me personally. I will miss their regular pre-owned notifications, their cost-effective shipping, their excellent service when you run into problems, and I'll seriously miss their excellent trunk service, which is unique in this sector. To the management and staff at Hattons, I want to say thank you for your excellent service and support over the years. I've always enjoyed engaging you, even if it's with regard to a return or a VAT issue or whatever. I want to wish you all every success in the future, and for those of you who choose to stay on in the railway modelling world, I look forward to dealing with you again in the future. To be honest, I don't know where I would have been without Hattons in my early years back in the hobby. I'm sad to see you go, but we've had 10 good years and you've helped me get back into the hobby in a way I might never have imagined. So what are your thoughts and reflections on the Hattons Closure? If you have particular experiences or memories with Hattons that you'd like to share, please let us know in the comments. Also, what are your thoughts on what has brought Hattons to this point? Was it the fractured relationships with Hornby and Bachmann, or is it what they've outlined on the website? Thanks for watching today. I hope to see you on the next one very soon. In the meantime, take care and happy modelling.